Hey, what's up guys? We're down here today at the GQM garage. I happen to have a very limited time with some intercomp car scales. So given that, I'm going to try to make the best use of the time instead of trying to corner balance anything because all my cars have freaking coilovers on them at this point. I'm going to take the ones that are mobile and put them on the scales, see where they're at weight-wise. I also have my good friend Dan down here with his AP2S2000, so we'll put that on there as well just for giggles. But it'd be really interesting to see where some of the cars are, given the manufacturer curb weight for the ones that are more stock, and especially the ones that are a lot more heavily modified, to see where they're at weight-wise and what the mods have taken away weight versus what the manufacturers rate them at from the factory. So it should be interesting. Alright, so here we have my 1993 Mazda RX7. This car started its life off as an automatic touring model, which the curb weight was just shy of 2,800 pounds, right around 2,890 pounds. It's a manual transmission car now. The single turbos have been scrapped. It's a single TO4S 60-1. The motor street ported. I have V-mount intercooler set up. Full 3-inch exhaust all the way back. All my suspension stuff has been restored and everything's professionally painted, so that adds a little bit of weight. The transmission's professionally painted, diff, subframes, so there is a little bit of weight being added there. I have the 17 by 9.5 Enki RPF ones all around. Those are actually pretty light wheels, although I don't know if they're lighter than the stock 16 by 8s. 255, 4017 Kumo XS tires front and back, and 99 spec front bumper. Interior weight reduction, I have carbon Porsche GT3 bucket seats. The factory steering wheel is removed in flavor of a personal 350mm wheel. So that's pretty much it for weight reduction on the interior. But right now, so again, car stock is 2,890. I'm looking at 2,701 pounds. So pretty good weight reduction over stock. Ooh, a couple other things I just thought about. ABS is deleted. The car has no power steering. It's a manual rack, and there's no AC anymore. So that's further weight reduction mods. But yep. So 2,701, and pretty good. Not as light as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be in the 2,600 pound range just based on how it felt. But I guess that makes about sense. So on to the next one. Alright, so I have my 2007 BMW Z4 M Coupe up on the scales. This is my one German vehicle in a sea of Japanese cars. I don't even know why I own this, I just kind of ended up with it a couple years ago, but the car is relatively stock. The only modifications are a set of Bilstein PSS10 coilovers. I have the Apex EC7 wheels. Other than that, just a couple of minor suspension upgrades, upgraded beefier sway bar end links, and rear trailing arm bushing limiters, and upgraded rear trailing arm bushing. Other than that, the car is completely stock. It is optioned with navigation. It has pretty much every option ticked other than the extended leather package, which is just leather covering on the center console and the center glove box, center console glove box. So. Looking at the cross weights, they're actually not that bad for me, just eyeballing the coilovers and measuring with a tape measure. But the curb weight, or the weight on the scales, is 3,288 pounds. I think these are rated at 3,280 from the factory, so call the extra 8 pounds there the factory navigation system. So other than that, that's like not that bad. I'm happy that it's under 3,300. This is where I think the weight starts to get pushed for a fun driving car. Once you kind of go past that 3,300 pound mark, you can really start to feel the weight. I mean, you already feel it a little bit in this car, but anything over 3,300 pounds, that's when the weight starts to become cumbersome and the car feels a little bit more lazier. So it's good to see, good to know, and on to the next one. Alright, so I have my 2003 AP1 Honda S2000 up here on the scales. A little backstory on the car. It's all stock for the most part, other than a set of coilovers and a couple other suspension bits and bobs. The only other thing that's really modified is the engine. The engine's all an all-motor build. There's some material off of the head, raised compression, every bolt-on you can possibly do. Cams, internals, the whole shebang, but having the car on the scales here, now the fuel is really light on it. It's a little bit below a quarter of a tank, and it's registering at 26.99. The cross weights are actually not that bad also for eyeballing it. So adding a little bit of fuel, this will probably be in the 27 and mid 2700 range with a full tank of fuel, so not too bad. The real weight savings is going to be when I start going through the interior and taking some stuff out, taking the seats out. Oh, I should add that I do not have the factory steering wheel anymore with the airbag, so there's a little bit of weight reduction there, but all in all, it's not too much of a difference. I know the factory exhaust is pretty heavy, but I still retain a dual muffler exhaust system on this, and it's all 70mm piping, so not bad. I would like to see this car down in the 2,500 pound range. I'd like to get a hard top like we did on Dan's car and pull the factory soft top out and save weight in other places where I can. So if I can get it down into the high 25s, that would be pretty legit. So yeah, next car. Alright, so we have the AP2 up on the scales here. Looking at his corner weights, they're a little bit uneven from corner to corner, but so his car is a 2005 model. It is relatively stock. We just added a carbon fiber hardtop to it a couple weeks ago, retained the factory soft top. The only other modifications he has are a Greddy Spectrum Elite dual exhaust and a Burke Technologies, Burke Technologies high flow cat. He has a set of coilovers and the raised 57 Extreme wheels. The total weight for everything is 2873. So a little bit heavier than what the factory curb weight is, but that would make sense seeing that we added the hard top and retained the factory soft top. It's nothing there. So in the essence of weighing everything that I can while I have these scales, we have my wife's 2006 Mazda RX8. It's a Shinka model, so it's basically option as a Grand Touring plus a couple other extra bits, including the urethane front-filled cross members. The car came in practically almost running on fumes. Alright, not fumes, but the gas light's on. But here on the scales, it's weighing in at 3,002 pounds. So probably with a full tank of gas would be close to 3,100 pounds, which is right about where manufacturers, I think they rated at 3,060 curb weight for these. But So yeah, on to the next car. Alright, so here we have my friend Kaori's 2014 Ford Fiesta ST. This car is bone stock in trim. Clean curb weight is 2745, and this is registering in at 2730, and it's got about 3/4 tank of fuel, so it's pretty spot on. And any of you, in case you're wondering who this is, all the very fancy, professional-looking photos you see in my videos on my Instagram account, which are clearly not taken by me because I don't have that much skill with a camera. She's the one who's taking it. So, here's the car. There's the weight. Pretty spot on with what Ford claims. So, on to the next one. The engine's cold, so I'm not right to rep again. I'll splice a clip of it from the past. Last but not least, my 1991 Turbo Mazda Miata. A lot of you should be familiar with this. I don't want to say you should be. And last but not least, my 1991 Turbo Mazda Miata. Some of you may be familiar with this car for the overview video I have on the channel, but for those who aren't, it's a 91. It came with no AC. The engine is now turbocharged. It has intercooler, oil cooler, the biggest coil radiator you can get. Add the weight for all the turbo components. Factory soft top is removed. No airbag. It's hard top only. I have my retro old Porsche RS 911 seats. I have full interior, no radio, no power steering, and no spare tires. So other than that, everything's undercoated. Suspension components are all powder coated, so there's a little bit of weight there. But on the scales here, we have 2,272 pounds. So not too bad. I think this is actually pretty close to what the factory weight is. So where I removed weight from the car, I've added weight with other components. But it is what it is. I don't really care. This is just a dick around car anyway. So that's it. That's all that I could weigh. I really wanted to weigh my 99 all-motor ITB Miata. This is the car that I'm really curious about because everything's super lightweight, from the exhaust, the headers, to everything that I've done to the engine. It would have been really nice to see the weights on this, but unfortunately the head is still at the machine shop. Hopefully have that back next week to start putting the engine back together and putting this build back. But yeah, hopefully I can grab the scales again once I have this thing on the road again. I can take the weight on it, and then it'd be nice to have it for a little bit longer so I can do some corner weighting on the cars. But that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this segment. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave it in the section below. I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you very much for watching. Till next time.